Expecto Patronum!
Hi Michigan, hi Shane, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. I'm gonna say that like 500 times tonight. Okay. Also, yeah, seems I need to program that to use any Pokeballs because I don't have any. So that's a problem. So if I could get it to open up, then I will change that real quick. Just so I can do this. Maybe I won't do it while I'm live. It's like, no, I refuse to open and let you edit to me tonight. Nico, Nico, Ni, words are hard. Nico, Nico, Ni. Yes, words are hard. Welcome, 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 welcome. How goes it, Michigan? Hope you're having a good night. Look at you with that green star. It's so pretty. I like it. I like it, I like it. Oh, I also changed all the cookie badges. So all the cookie badges are different. Well, sort of different. Some of them are kind of the same, but I have some all the way up to 5 years now. So you will see lots of new cookie badges tonight, thanks to Lady Rain, who designed lots of cookie badges. And so they'll be different based on how many years you've been following me and subbing and all that good stuff. So, hi Shane! And Shane's wearing his first time badge, so we can't see what cookie he has. Shane, what cookie did you get? I don't remember. You'll have to look. You have to look and see which cookie bags you have. I'm not sure. But we are doing giveaways tonight. Some kooky, silly giveaways. And if you would like to participate, type a 1 in chat and I will add you to the bucket. And you know the rules. Subs get 2 tickets and non-subs get 1 ticket. So that's how it works. That's how it works. Bonus tickets for subscribing. Modus, you're on mobile for a minute. You'll check in a bit. Okay. Sounds good. 1. Okay. So Shane, we're gonna put you in the bucket for 2 tickets. Shane. And if you want to see what you're getting tonight... Oh, I forgot to turn that off! Dang it, I knew I forgot to do something. I so meant to turn that off, Turtle. I was gonna turn the yoga ball off. Gotta start with the ball. I guess I do have some. Okay. Shade, 2 tickets in the bucket for you. And, oh, geez. Red, gotta start with balls. It's gonna be red just like my dress. And, that was a bad idea. I'm debating on whether I need to go put some shorts on. just cause. Oh, Turtle, you got the red velvet cookie. You got the red velvet cookie. Look at that. Alright, Splints, welcome! Welcome. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Splints, would you like to be in the drawing tonight? Would you like to be entered in the drawing? It's kind of a cutesy giveaway stream, so I'll explain more in a little bit. It's cutesy, but yeah. So, it's Valentine-y, because you guys get to be my Valentines. Yeah. So I hope it's not too cheesy, but it's all meant with love. And you'll be... I went to the store and I bought Valentine's cards, so no joke. They're gonna be fun, there's gonna be interesting. You have to see what I got. But if you want to be entered in the drawing, type a 1 in chat. So if you guys are lurking and not listening, then you don't know to type 1. Thank you, Splints. Alright. Splints is going in the bucket. Michigan. It's not Valentine's, it's Tuesday. Michigan's going in the bucket. Turtle, you want in the bucket? Put a 1 in chat. Gonna put you in the bucket. You know you want in. I was smart today. I went and tore some of the tickets apart in advance so that I could do this. And I also still have to go get that ball. Subscribe for 3 months! Yay! Crawling along here. Okay, that means you get 2 tickets, Splints. 2 tickets. Because you are a subscriber. 2 tickets in the bucket. Congrats. But yeah. Okay. I guess I gotta get the ball. Dang it, I meant to turn that off. I really did, and I forgot. So, I'll be right back. Oh, no. Gotta move my chair. Yeah. 6 muscles. Where's my pocket? Subscribe with Prime. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wiki Power. Thank you for that sub. Thank you. Welcome. I look great, thank you. Thank you, Shane. Much appreciated. I so should take the yoga ball setting off though. Oh well. Monstrosity, hi, welcome. But yes, you guys all have new updated cookie looks. If you want to enter the giveaways tonight, put a 1 in chat. Put a 1 in chat. So, yay.
Run.
Follow H. Hides in a safe place? Why are you running? Oh. Michigan licked you, that's why. Michigan totally licked you. Oh, I did something goofy, guys. You guys didn't get to see it. Image of Monstrosity, you get 2 tickets because you're a subscriber. Welcome, developer! Welcome. Girl, what are you wearing? A dress. It's a rare event. A rare event. Midget Monstrosity, you get 2 tickets in the bucket for tonight. You have the 5-year cookies? Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Southern Real accent. I do that sometimes. I don't know why. Sometimes I go super southern and do this. I don't even try. It just happens. Oh, that's crazy. And I forgot to turn off Yoga Ball Redemption. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Dang it. I knew I forgot to do something tonight, so I'm sitting on a yoga ball. In a dress. There's something wrong with this. You guys are nuts. I wish I kept my session from back when I was a browser game going on. Browser game? Which one? For Genshin? Is that what you're saying? Gonna be Rabbi. Okay. Alright, Mr. Monstrosity. Cookie clicker. Oh, yeah. I probably got a bazillion hours in that. You guys do it. It's the only time you gotta sit on the yo-yo. It's okay. It's okay. It'll be okay. I will just stay very securely in place, and I haven't had too much wine yet, so good. So. It'll be good. I also did a super silly thing, though, for you guys. I really did. So, on top of that, I feel like such a goofy girl when I do this, but I'm gonna put these on. Not even just for a little while, okay. I'm just a goofy girl tonight, so there you go. I got little heart antennas just for you guys. I don't have my cat ears, I have these tonight instead. So you get to see that. But yes, Yoga Ball is done. We're gonna put it up. Oh, not doing that. But yes. Oh. Saving my points for more stickers. You need more stickers? Yes. Stickers are the best. Let's be real. Stickers are good. Okay, I think I got everybody who wants in the drawing. If you want to be in the drawing, put a 1 in chat. If you want to know what the drawing is, it is exclamation giveaway. I will also be playing some Genshin tonight. There you go. And I will wear these silly little heart things until I get tired of them, and then they're coming off my head, so enjoy it while you can, because I don't know how long it's gonna last. I really don't. So we'll see. But alright, I think I'm gonna turn on some Genshin then. Unless anybody else is entering. Oh, I didn't even tell you. Do you guys want to see the cards? Maybe I'll wait until a few more people are here, and then I'll show the cards. That way I don't want to like do them too soon, because they're cute and they're funny, and you guys are gonna love them. Alright, alright. You know what? I'm not gonna wait. Maybe I'll wait. I don't know. Okay, you get to pick your Valentine card if you win a Valentine card. I'm going to mail it to you. I will custom sign it. Might even put a personal message on it. And I will mail it to you. And you get to choose which Valentine you want when you win. And also, you know, I'm doing a signed print. It could be Pikachu, Eevee, Skitty, whichever one you want. And then also a Valentine's gift box. That'll be a surprise. So whoever wins that gets a Valentine's gift box. So, alright. These custom signed Pikachu. Ooh, personalized. Yes. So these Valentine's cards are so silly. I had too much fun and I couldn't decide on one, so you guys get to deal with it. These are Scratch and Sniff. There's cookies, of course, donuts, pizza, and tacos, because it's Taco Tuesday. So you can pick one of these guys if you want. They will be interesting for sure. For my art types, we have dinosaurs that are scratch dinosaurs. You can scratch off the image with a little scratch stick and scratch off a dinosaur. So these are the artist ones. Okay. For my Star Wars fans, we have some Yoda, baby Yodas, and some little magnets. So you can get baby Yoda if you want baby Yoda. And okay, and this one made me think of Lady Rain, honestly, guys. She's here so much and she's so supportive. This is Pill and Stick Unicorn Horn Valentines, but it's cats and pandas and sloths and bears, and they're little like patch feeling stickers. They feel like little, like, you know, a sewn-on patch, but they're stickers. And I know she'll like that. So those are the ones you get to choose from if you win. I thought you said kill and stick. No, this is not what I do here. Also, Mono, I want 2 prizes. A print and a card. Or a pile of your stickers. If you guys are nice, I'll throw in a sticker with a card. I got plenty of stickers. I could throw in a sticker too. Unless you're like, no, Mono, we have all your stickers. I don't want any more stickers. Then I won't send you any stickers, but I can throw in a bonus sticker with your Valentine's card. I think that would be sweet. But we're gonna play some Genshin, so if you guys are ready, I have to do my dailies, all that good stuff. Keep on this Genshin grind that I can't have enough of your stickers. They are the best. I almost made a Valentine's one, but I ran out of time. I was gonna make Valentine stickers, but I didn't have enough time. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you for being my Valentine. You guys are awesome. Shane, yes. I'm glad you like them, guys. But yeah, I was gonna do the heart one. I think the heart cat. I was gonna do that, but I ran out of time. No, heart one. Maybe we'll have a heart one next. I don't know. I gotta figure out which one I'm doing next. And I'm waiting for Genshin to finish starting up before I switch screens, because it's kind of boring right this second. It's loading! There's nothing exciting about that. Plus apparently I gotta turn my camera back on that panel. So there's no me. It's probably still in desktop capture or something. It's slowly loading. But welcome, Turtle, welcome. Midget, Michigan, developer, everyone, welcome, Splints. If you're lurking and listening, welcome. Dang, my game's loading so slow. when you're sitting here... Never mind. Not even. Mona, I'm gonna share a pic on Discord. Okay, okay. I'm awake, I promise. Welcome, Lady Reen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wait until you see the cards later. I'm gonna show them again later. You're gonna be ecstatic. You're gonna want one in particular. But yes. Hi, Reen. Alright, we're gonna do a thing. Thing and a stuff. Oh, do we want to start out with pulls today? Do we want to do pulls? I got 10 pulls. I can do a lucky pull real quick. Oh, I also need to turn on my camera and fix my desktop. Yeah. I'm a slacker. You guys get to see everything.
1, 2, 3,
4
and...
da 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 da. I might be able to find the setting I need. There's display capture. Turn it off! I'm always in the drawing. Oh yeah, you gotta put a 1 in chat to get into the drawing. If you want to enter my drawing, put a 1 in chat. And I gotta find my face. Where is my camera? There it is. Ta-da! I found myself. Now we gotta find the game. There you go.
Let's go somewhere cooler.
I found the game. I'm gonna move chat somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere out of the way. Trot is out the way. Yeah, I bet it right, like...
1,
Nah, that's annoying.
3,
I don't want it right in the center.
4,
That's annoying. Yeah. There we go. Alright, Rain. You're a subscriber. Oh, look what cookie you got. You got the green one, Rain. Look at you. The green one with sprinkles. Can I put Ryan on these tickets? Just kidding.
Neither do I.
Just kidding.
I already forgot.
Yes. It says Rain. I promise. I promise. It says Rain. I promise. You're good. You're good.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's a green. Yes. The one I styled after my colors. No, Ryan. Nope. No, Ryan. Just Rain. So, yeah. Alright. Here we go.
Let's go
Genshin time.
somewhere cooler.
And we're gonna do a poll. You know what? We're gonna start off tonight, right? Oh god, I just fell. Good job. We're gonna make some wishes. That's the best way to start off. We're gonna see if I get lucky on Valentine's Day. Not choice of words. I'm gonna see if I get lucky and I get Yulin tonight because I'm gonna make a 10 wish poll because I can do that and we'll see what happens. Wish me luck. I hope I get her. She is beautiful. Well, let's see what we get. Ooh, is that sword special? It might be better than something I have. I don't know. Turtle, you would know. I have like all crappy swords, I feel like, right now. I'm gonna get gypped, aren't I? No! I've been gypped like the past few shots. I feel like... No, I got a character last time, but that's a good sword, right? Look at that. I need to level that thing up a bit. Crit hits have a 60% chance to generate a small amount of elemental particles. Yeah. Not exactly what I wanted, but I did need to upgrade my weapons. Like, you guys are licking each other. I'm jealous. There. I licked a bot. Who am I gonna hug? We're gonna hug somebody. Turtle gets the hugs and the cookies. Cookies. Add. Well. You get 500 cookies. And yes. But again, guys, if you are joining and you want to enter the stream, just type a 1 in chat. Because I think... Num 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 num! Should we go ahead and do it? Should I do another draw? I think I have like a couple more wishes, but I kind of don't know if I want to do single ones. Maybe I'll save it toward the end of the stream. I don't know. I have at least 2. Probably should wait. I could do a couple this way. For 1. Oh no, we're gonna see if I can look you on Valentine's Day. You did it! Successfully added quote. Oh my god. Shade. Shade of all people that keeps us straight. Thank you, Shade. You keep us straight. And you're the one that quotes me, I tell you. I can't help it. I gotta put my feet in the chair. I'm the most unladylike person in a dress. My feet gotta go in the chair. I couldn't help it that time. I love it, Shade. I love it. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so we bought a few things. And we got a cool sword that I don't know anything about. So... Fabulous great sword. I'm thinking somebody could really use that sword, but I don't know, maybe I'll save it for my new character when I get one. Claymore. Yay. New recipes. Dun, 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 dun. Collect all the red dots. The red dots must die. I was going like, where'd my character go? I was like, there's no character.
3, 4,
I couldn't help it. Bio! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! Thank you for the tier 1 for 15 months, Bio! Welcome to the stream! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Bio.
2,
Would you like
3,
2 tickets
4,
in the bucket
2,
for a drawing?
2,
You can win a print,
4,
a gift from Mono, or a personalized Valentine's Day card of your choice. Oh yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a good Valentine's Day. You know what? I'm just putting you shy people in the bucket. No, because I'll be likely to win like last time. I mean... You sure you don't want scratch and sniff Valentine's cards that smell like tacos, pizza, cookies, and donuts?
Neither do I. Already forgot.
Or art scratch ones where you can scratch off the little art pictures you're in. Okay.
4,
And with a customized message. Okay, okay. I'll put you in the bucket then. Oh, or you can get to choose for Baby Yoda. The little magnets. And then I have patchwork ones that are unicorns. Koalas, kitties, sloths, and pandas. And they're like little patchwork stickers and cards. So you guys get to pick when you win.
3,
Alright, you know what? Since you guys are here, I'm gonna go ahead and draw a couple names.
2,
Ignore that it's the spoopy.
4.
It's the Halloween bucket. Still sold on tacos, right? I wonder what it smells like. It probably smells so gross. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and draw 2 names for cards. I'm gonna draw 2. Just gonna pick out 2. Alright. Shade and Bio! There you go, Bio. No joke, Shade and Bio.
Hey, do you know what?
You saw your Halloween buckets for cleaning stuff? Okay. So you want the taco one, right, Bio? Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Shane, which Valentine's card? See? Oh, I just ripped the box. Cool. Wow. Those are pretty cool emotes. I'm wondering, they've got this whole thing sealed so you can't, like, smell them. I bet they all smell the same. Like, I don't know. Like, weirdness. Rigged. But yeah, you have to let me know which one you want.
Let's go somewhere cooler.
Afro, welcome! Hi, friend! What it is? Bio won a scratch and sniff taco card. So he's getting one of the taco cards. And I'm gonna actually scratch and smell it right now because I want to know if it smells like tacos. I gotta know. It kind of oddly does. It smells like cumin, so it smells like taco seasoning and like corn chips. It smells like taco seasoning and corn chips. Tacos, yes. So Bio, you get one of these sent to you.
One,
Human tacos, yes. You get a human taco.
4.
Well, it says, let's talk about how great you are.
2, 3.
Yep. You get to talk about how great you are, Bio. Shane, which card do you want? Which Valentine do you want? And Afro, do you want in the drawing for a Valentine card, a gift basket, or a print? Denied. Shane won't tell me which card he wants. One of the art ones. Okay, so you don't want any custom signed Valentines. Okay. You're gonna wait and hold out for an art print. Alright, alright. Welcome, Radio! Radio, do you want in the drawing? Afro, you want in the drawing? Type 1 in chat, guys, and I'll put you guys in.
3, 4.
Just type 1 in chat and I'll put you guys in the bucket. Oh, the art ones! The scratchy dino ones! Yeah! Okay. Shane's getting a dino one. No, that's okay. Okay, Radio. I'm giving away Valentine's cards. Scratch and sniff and art ones and different things. And welcome, Radio. I hope you're doing awesome. Happy Valentine's Day. It is. I'm glad I'm here spinning it with you guys. So, see, they each come with like a little stick and then a little scratch board with a dino on it so you can scratch it off. And on the back it says Happy Valentine's Day. And I will put a message on there for you guys, you know?
2, breathe.
Happy Valentine's Day! Yes! Thank you! Happy birthday! Yeah! Alright, Shane gets that one, so I'm gonna put it over here with a Shane ticket on it. Because he wants one of the dinos. And, you look adorable. Thank you. Much appreciated. Hey, hearts. Okay, Afro, do you want in the drawing tonight? If not, it's okay. It's totally okay. I just want to give everybody an opportunity. Which one? VE or VJ? LOL.
1, 2,
I don't know!
3, 4, and
Right, my wife always. Yes, ma'am. We have one child and a blue chicken together, and I love my
let's
blue
go
chicken.
somewhere cooler.
Oh, jeez, I love you guys. Oh.
Huh?
Alright, let's go back over to
2,
the game screen.
3, 4, and
See what we're staring at. Of course. Okay, I got you. I'm gonna put you in the bucket. Okay, 1 ticket. Again, guys, if you're just joining, doing drawings tonight, tickets are in the bucket. Subs get 2 tickets. Non-subs get 1 ticket. So everybody is welcome.
2, 3.
Mona loves the blue chicken, and neither of us could care less about the kid, right? Michigan takes care of the kid better than we do.
1, 2, 3,
Michigan takes care of the kid.
4.
We have an extended family. Michigan babysits for us. Alright, dailies. What is that face for Shane? Oh no, feels free. What? Rib feels free. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Not sure where he is right now. That poor kid.
Breathe.
I call dibs on Pikachu and Skitty Prince. Yes. Oh, I already got. Did I show you the stickers that you're gonna want? Lady Rain. Felix! Hello! Welcome to the stream, Felix. Do you want to enter it in the drawing? Ha ha ha.
Let's go.
Lady Rain, these are the ones you're gonna want. They're little patchwork stickers. Hold up. They are patches, like you put on clothes, but they're stickers, and they're unicorn, koalas, sloths, pandas, and kitties. They're stickers, yes. Although it might be in high competition with Baby Yoda and magnets. I don't know. And then the scratch and sniff stickers. Scratch and sniff. And then there's tacos. Pasties. You would say that. You would say that, Sixer. Guys, you won in the drawing, yes. For Valentine's cards. Be my Valentine.
2, 3, 4.
I ask, I have one of each. Stay away from the tacos. He wants all the taco cards. Yes.
4.
Bio 1 taco cards already. Nico Nico Nee! Played Pokemon Unite. Nice. It sounds fun too. But so are we adding Dash, Felix, and Sixer? Put a 1 in chat if you want to be added to the drawing.
Let's go somewhere.
Let me know.
Cool.
Dash does, okay. Gonna put you in the bucket, Dash. Alright, bucket. Felix. Bucket. The ultimate prize is a chance to win one of my art prints. Pikachu, Eevee, or Skitty signed, and you get to pick which one you want. But we're also doing like Valentine's cards and stuff too. Thank you for the biddies, Dash. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Get away from my tacos. But yes. Alright, back to the game.
1.
I turned, and I gotta get my feet out of the chair. I'm terrible. I know. You got what? I got Pikachu and Skitty. I'm the exception. Yeah. I should automatically give one of each. I mean,
You know what?
you guys probably should if I could afford it. You
Neither
guys help
do
me all the
I.
time.
I
It's my wife tax.
already forgot.
They'll go on the wall in the house, right? Pokemon meets League of Legends. I know. I played it for a short bit, and I don't know why I totally didn't get into it, because I do like Pokemon, and I love League. So it was like right up my alley, and then I just never got into it, and I guess because I had too many other games on my plate. Kind of like I stepped away from Genshin for a while. It's probably one of those things I'll play it eventually. Eventually. I love it, surprisingly. Neko-chan! Splits! Thank you for gifting Michigan a sub! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Ah! Don't hurt her. She will catch you on fire. Oh. And then I'm gonna freeze you all at the same time. Ah, get off me. Don't make me pull out. What's her name? Put more status conditions on your butt.
I must leave no stone unturned.
Yeah. Jump. Why do I feel like I'm running in slow motion? I might actually be running in slow motion. But thank you so much, Splits! Thank you! Permitted term. Oh, geez, what happened? What did I miss? I'll catch it in just a second after I defeat this guy. And then, oh yeah, it's gonna be wave 2. Reinforcements! Oh yeah? I wish it was raining right now. I wish it was raining.
Leave it up to me.
Yeah? Yeah. Trying to swing at air here. Good job. There we go. Mission complete. Okay, but yes. Welcome, Splints. Thank you again for gifting that sub to Michigan. You gifted 3 subs to the channel. Thank you. That means Michigan gets another ticket in the bucket. You know that, right? Michigan. Going in the bucket. I need to get a frame for my EV print. Yes, you totally get one more ticket. Hey Rain, I actually have my EV print. I hate this shield guy pain in the butt. Yes. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna draw 2 more real quick. Okay. 2 more. And then, you know, we're gonna save the big things for the end of stream. Okay. Names are Splints and Rain. You get Valentine's cards. Which one do you want? Which ones do you want? Thank you for the follows. Scrats. Welcome. Kind of sounds like cats, and I like it. Scrats. And congrats. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to the stream. Ooh, dealer's choice. Yes, you get to pick which one. Do you want a scratch and sniff? Do you want art? Do you want Baby Yoda? Do you want patches? Likewise, thanks. I mean, your choice. Oh, so you want me to pick for you. Okay. I will try to personalize it as much as possible and pick one for you that I feel best fits you. And we know what Rain wants. She wants stickers. Right, Rain? I'm guessing Rain wants stickers. But cheers, guys. Oh, that says drink water. Oh, dang, I reached for the wine instead. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. Wine, water, same thing. I mean, kinda, yeah, sorta. Just a little bit. Alright, we're gonna go over here and teleport our way. Meowguard, welcome! Jesus showed up, obviously. Oh, jeez. Welcome, guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to the stream. Meowguard, welcome, welcome, welcome. Heart into the chem, yes! I has hearts on my head for at least a little while. Ah, thank you so much for the Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alright, we're gonna go beat some dudes up. We're gonna go drop in on their head. Give them, you know, an unwanted surprise. Happy V-Day, everyone. Yeah. You too. Legs! Oh my gosh, Legs, welcome to the stream! Thank you for subscribing for 43 months! Thank you for those Twitch Prime subs. Thank you guys. Thank you. You know, I didn't get that close enough, but it's alright. And I know these are fire guys, but we're still gonna drop the ball on them. I don't care. It hurts a little bit. Gonna leave a bunny surprise. Yeah, get some shielding up. Some healing. All that good stuff. And now we're gonna freeze them a little bit. Just get the works. You like it. You like it, like it. Seriously.
Propagate.
Propagate. Yeah. Get back here. Slime. Reinforcements. Go, 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 go.
Springboard. That's cheating.
Ah. We don't want that. Oh, there's one of those guys with water somewhere. Where is he at? I don't even know. I swear there's like a dancing dude somewhere hiding. Maybe not. Maybe I did something, I don't even know. Ah! Don't hit me! That's not very nice.
Fortune preserver.
I don't like it.
Wow.
Chi-Chi's gonna kick your butt. Welcome, Random! Welcome, welcome, welcome back! Hi! Welcome back to the stream! Hope you're doing awesome. Hope you're having an awesome Valentine's Day. Welcome, everyone.
Leave it all to me.
I'm doing Valentine's drawings today. You can win Valentine's cards. There's a chance later to win a gift box. And also a print, an exclusive signed print of mine. So, exclamation giveaway if you want to know what the prizes are. Exclamation giveaway. And let's put a 1 in chat if you want to enter the giveaway. And I gotta go back up and see what I missed. Welcome, Legs. Do you want in the drawing? You gotta be present to win. That's the only catch. You gotta be present to win. So put a 1 in chat if you want to be entered into the drawing. And I have Valentine's cards. We have scratch and sniff cookies. We have art cards.
Whenever you need me.
We have Baby Yoda. And we have Roar Brings Me Back. And we have patchwork, sloths, kitties, koalas, and panda bears. So you guys just put something in chat. Thank you for the follow, Joel Hunter. Welcome to the stream. And if you scream my name, I'll zone back in playing Pokemon Scarlet. Okay. Oh yeah, Michigan. No, Michigan Straussy. Why did I say Michigan? Oh my god, you guys both the M's. I do that all the time. I'm so terrible. But yes, if you want to join, chat.
You seem tired.
Ugh. If you want to join, let me know.
I'll brew you some. Do you take
Legs,
sugar?
if you want to enter the
One cube or
drawing,
two?
just let me know. One in chat. He's probably zoned in on something too. Go, legs, 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 Viper. Let's see if he's listening. Whoa, cute, those critters. Right? Do you want to enter the drawing? Put a 1 in chat. Say yes. Thank you for that sub, by the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yelling in the mic does work. Who knew? Who knew? Okay, alright. I'm gonna put you in and you get 2 chances. You get 2 chances to
I'll
win.
be there.
Because you are a subscriber. I like Mike yelling, right? I'm busy. Okay, well, I'm gonna do a drawing right now, so don't run away. Because if you're not here, you won't get it. Alright, 2 more tickets coming out of the bucket. It is Benjamin Straussy and Afro. You both get Valentine's cards. Which cards would you like? Please let me know.
Would you like some tea? I'll brew you some.
Would you like
Do you
some
take
tea?
sugar? One
Please
cube
let
or
me
two?
know. 1 cube or 2. I like it. Beep boop. Hi, Momo. Welcome, Momo. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, lovely. Do you want in the drawing today? Put a 1 in chat if you would like to be entered in the drawing. Looking cute. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The patch is our cute little patchwork stickers that are these guys. That's koala, unicorn, kitty unicorn, sloth unicorn, and panda unicorn. And I'm gonna write custom messages on these things. So you guys just have to let me know. Yes, there's a little unicorn sloth. He is right here. He's a unicorn sloth right there. Right here, yeah. And it's like a little patchwork sticker. So cute. You'll go with the doodle scratch one? Okay. Alright, we're gonna put you in the doodle scratch pile. These are like where you scratch off dinosaurs underneath. Hide in a safe place. Okay, you go in the pile with Shane. Alright. But yes, welcome to the stream. You kind of want to scratch off dino? Okay, alright, we'll do that. We'll put you in the scratch off dino pile. So far, the scratch off dino pile is beating the scratch and sniff taco. I'm surprised. Bio says he wants all 4 tacos, so you know. Scratch and sniff tacos. You want one in the bucket? Yes, I'll put you in the bucket, Momo. Gonna put you in. Yes, you want Afro. Which card do you want? Welcome back. Momo. Put your ticket in the bucket. Taco is cool. You're welcome. Yes. Oh my gosh, Bio! Thank you so much for gifting all those subs in chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't feel right for asking for a scratch and sniff taco. I mean, that's what Bio went for. I'm broke because I bought BC parts, but there you go. Thank you so much, Bio. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for gifting a sub to Shaki, M4, Zuka, Dash, and Afro, and Saxophone. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Band splits. Rude. Oh, jeez. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Bio. You're awesome. I appreciate it. Appreciate it so much.
By __ gifted a tier 1 sub to Afro
Yeah,
Rico
good
015.
But yes, Afro, you won in the drawing a minute ago. I pulled your name, so if you would like a Valentine's card sent to you, let me know. Let me know.
By 0_ gifted a tier 1 sub to Sax Off Wine.
Yay! Welcome everybody that's lurking. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being my Valentine. Okay. Yes, just let me know which one you want. Let me know. You've got to pick one and I'll write a custom message and send it to you. I'll DM you and ask you for your address later. I did not hear Sacks of Wine. Oh, you didn't? Huh. But yes, this is what the giveaway has in it. Like, yeah, I asked what... Where is the wine? Yes. Right here. Crisis, welcome! Thank you for the tier 1 sub for 45 months! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Crisis, you won in the drawing? Do you want to win Valentine's cards, a Valentine gift box set, or possibly a print? Either Eevee, Skitty, or Pikachu signed. You're half asleep, sorry. Oh, Afro won earlier. I was letting him know he needed to pick. The Crisis, I'm gonna put you in the bucket, dude. If you're lurking and listening, and you won in the drawing. He's probably on mobile. I don't see any wine. I only see old grape. Oh, hi, Michigan. You don't have to put me in? Okay, okay. I won't put you in then. You are banned. You don't get a Valentine's card. Just kidding. Just kidding. You're not banned. But I do like your cookie. Look, everybody's wearing different cookies based on their follow year now. Thanks to Lady Rain. So we're gonna clean this? No, you can't. He didn't get one in the bucket. You can't claim it. You guys are awesome though. Alright, back to Genshin. We shall at least clear these dailies today. I may have to go refill my wine though. It's looking pretty sad.
Oh dear. Everyone's laundry is still on the line.
Thank you, wow! Thank you, Turtle! Jeez, thank you, thank you, thank you for gifting us up to Chameleon Chick. Welcome, Chameleon Chick. Congrats on your new sub. Thank you, Turtle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alright. Go on. Running. Let's do this. Hey, where's this gonna take me? We're gonna... I wanna go up high. Whee! But anyway. Alright. We stopped, dropped, and rolled. You saw that. That was pretty cool. I'm like a pro. Not. Sub hype. Yo guys started a hype train. It's a level 3 hype train. Jeez. I didn't even... I'm not... When did that happen? Don't startle those hilly trolls over there. Why are you always running off into the hilly troll camps? Forget it, it's not important.
I've been researching hilly trolls for some time, but I'd much rather get into some actual speaking practice than considering going over books.
This is the same one I did the other day. I did this one the other day. The hilly troll camps. Yeah, let's go out there and watch you get your butt kicked. Hi, Lemon Drop, welcome! Thank you for the 100 biddies, Shane! Thank you, thank you, thank you!
Spico cheered.
Thank you guys, welcome to the stream. If you want in the drawing tonight, put a 1 in chat. 1 in chat. And don't forget to check out your new cookie badges, guys. And thank Lady Rain and the star badges. And you go to off to bed if I win in chat can pick something, okay. Good night, Lex. Okay, so we're gonna go over here. Tex! Oh my my gosh, Prime Gaming sub. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. Thank you, Tex. If you won in the drawing, Tex, put a 1 in chat. Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás, Tex? ¿Cómo estás? Lemon Drop goes in the bucket. Lemon Drop is a subscriber, so Lemon Drop gets 2 tickets in the bucket. My pen won't stop and die on me now. I better not die. Bye-bye. Bye, Lex. Get some sleep. Thank you again. Thank you again. Guys, thank you for everyone that joined and lurking and listening. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Lemon Drop. But yeah, Tex. We'll put you in, Tex. You get 2. You get 2 because you subscribed with a sub. So you get 2 drawings in. Tex is put into the bucket. After I defeat this thing over here, then I'll do another drawing. Splits did a 1. Yes. Did you already have 2 tickets in the bucket?
Such fair
Splints, are you pulling my leg, or did you only have 1? Lurk, thank you, Meow. Thank you for the lurk. You are awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the biddies, Momo.
Clumsy Memoro chaired.
I think Splits is trolling me. I don't remember. I need a mod. I don't remember. Okay, so I guess I'm supposed to... Oh, they're... I gotta go talk to the girl again, I guess.
I must leave no
I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, Momo's pulling out all the licks. All the lick emotes. You mean to write these things down? I know, it's short of digging through the bucket and looking at everybody's names. Let's go over and say hi. Let's not, because you're gonna get your butt kicked. But we're gonna change for you. I know, I need a keeper. Anybody want to volunteer? Momo caught it. Thank you for the bits. Thank you,
X4.
Momo.
Hey guys, 1 show love 1. Hey guys, 1 show love 1. Hey guys, 1 show love 1. Hey guys, 1 show love 1.
Okay, that failed. Okay. It was kind of cute.
Go.
Oh.
Let it rain.
No. Come back into my fire hutch. Let's burn your shield.
Go, Berry Bunny. Steady as stone. Time to clean up.
Time to clean up. Let's do it.
Wheel of life. Rise.
You stand no chance against Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi's gonna kick your boot.
Oh, and then we got some more up here hiding. I didn't know I could jump with her. You can jump stab with her? I didn't know. What? I didn't know I could do that. That's awesome. You received a level 2 hype train emote. Yay! Thank you guys so much for the level 2 hype train emote. Thank you. Go. See? Learn something new every day. Yo. Exactly. So I can go like this. Somehow she just like jumped and stabbed. Now I don't know how I did it. So I can... Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it again. But it says I can cook. I cook now. Can I cook? I'm on fire, apparently. Can Noelle cook? I swear it popped up and asked me if I wanted to cook. And now it won't. Or bet it- oh, it was over here. Why you can jump attack with everyone? I don't know these things. I blame the blonde hair. I blame the blonde hair, so... But yes, we're gonna do another drawing. If you guys are in the bucket, take me out to dinner first. Christ. What are y'all doing to each other? Boop. Boop, shade on the nose. Alright, we're gonna draw. I'm not gonna look. Gonna see who we get. I literally drew legs 2 times. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Take me out to fancy feast and dinner. Fancy feast. Meow, meow, meow. Okay, rigged. Yep. Gonna draw 2 more. Oh, that was 3! I accidentally drawn 3! Okay, we're gonna keep all 3, because I don't want to throw one back in. Rain, you get to choose a second one. A second card. You won again. Then we have Momo and Midget Monstrosity. Momo, you get to pick your first one, and Midget Monstrosity, you get to pick your second one. Valentine's cards. Pyro skills must be needed in order to cook. We have to light the fire. There. Now we lit a fire. I want a skinny friend. Do we get put back for prizes later? No, I have to hold them to the side so I know what to give you guys. Hi, Rogue! Welcome to the stream! Welcome. Put a 1 in chat if you want to be entered into the thing. What do I pick between? Scratch Valentine's cards. R1 Scratch and Sniff. Tacos, pizza, cookies. Patchwork sloths, kitties, pandas, and koalas that all have unicorn horns. And, we have Star Wars Baby Yoda. Yeah, the sloth's still here. Sloth is totally here. You can get Sloth. I'll put you down for Sloth. Thank you, Rogue. Couldn't hear you. Looking so beautiful. Hi, Rogue. Welcome to the stream. If you want to be entered into the drawing, Rogue, put a 1 in chat, and I will add you to the bucket. Ugh. All right, let's look for Baby Sloth. Make sure I put the sloth down for Momo's name. Let's see, there's stickers. There's the little sloth sticker with the unicorn horn, and it's like a patchwork sticker. And then there's a card that says, I like you, a sloth. I like you, a sloth. And it's a little card. It's so cute. I like you, a sloth. So Momo gets sloth, guys. We're gonna go ahead and tear it off. A 1, yes. I will put you in the bucket. But first, I am tearing off the sloth for Momo. I forgot you love that. Yes, it's a baby. It's a little unicorn sloth. I love you, a sloth. It's like a lot. I love you a lot. Okay, so Momo gets that, and I will remember. Momo gets a sloth. And I'll put it over there so I remember without it blowing away. But yes, they are so cute. There's kitties, koalas, pandas, and they all have little unicorn horns, and they all have cards. Oh, and they all got little heart stickers too. You know those came in there. I know I said it yesterday, but you look gorgeous. Aw, thank you, Rogue. Thank you. So yes, Rogue, we will put you on the drawing. In the bucket. Alright, soon I will go ahead and do the drawing for the gift box. Somebody is going to be the lucky winner of a Valentine's gift package via Amazon. Valentine's gift goodies in a box. So I'm going to send you a box full of Valentine's gift goodies from me. So, oh, did you decide what your second card was you wanted, Mission Monstrosity? Let me know. Patch? Which patch? Which patch? Which patch? And then random? Okay. I will surprise you. How's that sound? I will surprise you. You get to be surprised. Yes. I'm tearing off one right now. So I don't forget which one you get. There. It's a surprise. Alright. Let's collect this food real quick. And finish this mission. Obtain the sausages. Obtain the jam. The flour. All the sugar. All the cream. Because we made all those earlier. Now we're gonna cook. Let's see if I had any new recipes to use. No, I'm good. I don't really need to cook right now, I don't think. I don't know. I always have plenty of food. But I feel like there was something we were supposed to complete, and I don't know what it was. Was it destroy this thing? I don't know. Where's the person I'm supposed to hurt? Oh, I bet they're up this thing. I bet they're up here hiding. I don't know where they're at. There's somebody I'm supposed to damage in this area to complete this mission. Go to Wolvendom. I don't know. Oh, there they are. There they are. The girl. I forgot. There we go. Brain. Quote. You just don't go making fun of things people clearly like. Marin. You always get the Marin quote. That's awesome. Michigan, go to the top of the V and you just roll in. Golf with friends. Oh god. Yep, that's it. That's all you do, apparently. Marin, yes. Okay, we're gonna heal up. I hit the wrong button. Let our characters heal a second. Alright, I said it. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and draw while everybody is here for the gift. The gift box from Amazon. A Valentine's gift box. Let's see who the one lucky winner is with the sad face on the bucket. There we go. Good luck, everyone. It is Michigan! Congratulations, Michigan! You get the Valentine's gift box with all the Valentine's goodies. I hope you're not on a diet. Happy Valentine's Day, man.
Breathe. 3, 4, and 1.
Yay! Yes. Happy Valentine's Day! Ranked. Alright, I think I've given away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got some more cards coming, and then we got some more, then we got the final drawing. I kind of want to do the final drawing before all the tickets are out of the bucket. I feel bad. Let's see. Alright, let's go ahead and do the final drawing real quick, and then I'll just keep drawing some more Valentine's cards. But yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we go. Here's the big one. Who gets it? The signed art print of either Eevee, Pikachu, or Skitty that I painted. Signed, but I'm gonna sign the print. It's a print of it. And it goes to one lucky person. Everyone gets an extra. Better be me. Tex! Tex, you win an art print. Congratulations. You get a signed KimonoKat print. You get to choose between my Pikachu painting, my Eevee painting, or my Skitty painting on which print you want. You just have to let me know. Signed print, yes! Congrats, congrats! You spelled my name wrong! I spelled it like text, I didn't spell it right. But welcome, Taz! Welcome to the stream! Welcome, 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 Taz! Would you like to be put in the drawing for some Valentine's cards? Put a 1 in chat if you were just joining and want to be entered for some Valentine's cards.
You know what? Neither do I.
But
Already forgot.
let's do this, let's do this. Oh, there's like crates here. Do they have vegetables though? That's the real question. I need to see them. You need to see the paintings. Okay. All right. I'm gonna show you. Just keep in mind it's gonna be a 5x7 little print that I'm gonna sign, and you get to choose which painting it's based off of. So it's not the actual painting, of course, but it's the print. And if you guys are new to my stream, you haven't seen these yet anyway. Like here's Pikachu. And it'll be a print of Pikachu or a print of Skitty. Let me grab Skitty. A print of Skitty. Skitty meow. Or,
1, 2,
of course, Eevee.
3, 4, 2, 2, 3.
You just have to choose which one you want. And I will get you a 5x7 print signed
2,
by me.
3.
So, let me know, let me know. You just have to pick one. And congratulations. Pika Pika? Alright, I'm putting you down for Pika Pika it is. You will be the first person to receive a Pika Pika print, by the way. Congratulations. You will have the very first Pikachu print ever made. So I feel special. Alright, let's do a couple more Valentine's cards while I'm at it.
Let's go.
2 more Valentine's cards.
Cooler.
Shane and Tex, you also get Valentine's cards. So Shane, you get another Valentine's card, and so do you, Tex. Do you guys want like Dino Scratch cards that got little art? Or do you want like
4
and then you can do these little guys, which are little patchwork stickers, which are unicorns and koalas. I second this. You should set an option to channel points menu to buy a print. So to go along with the stickers, I could definitely do that. Let's see. I just gotta figure out how much they all cost me too and get my print store up, but I'm just a slacker. I'm a slacker. But I think that's a really good idea. Also, we have scratch and sniff cards that are donuts, pizza, cookies, tacos. Scratch, please. Becky will love it. Okay, which one? Donut, cookie, pizza, or taco? I guess a scratch and sniff cookie, please. Okay, you get a cookie. Shane wants a cookie. Now I want to know what the cookie smells like. I'm gonna find out.
4, 2, 2,
It smells chocolatey.
4,
hard worker, not slacker. Not like a taco. Randoms. Okay. Just surprise you which one. Okay. Bio wanted a taco. And you know what? I wonder what the donut smells like. Oh my god, the donut's so sweet. That's sweet. Maybe we should give Becky a donut. Sweet like Becky, right? And then let's see what pizza smells like.
Hey, do you know what? Neither do
Pizza smells like pizza.
I...
It's a little bit like the taco one too, though, which is kind of weird. Dino Scratch? Okay. Dino Scratch. Never mind. I got it wrong. I thought you said guess. I don't know. I don't know what I... Random, so... Oh, okay. Dino Scratch it is. The Dino Scratches are really cool. They're,
1, 2, 3,
little, dinosaurs that you slowly scratch off and reveal different pictures.
3.
So, it comes with like a little pencil stick and you just slowly scratch off the image. Yeah. Thank you, Shane. But I switched it. So that will come along with your print. Becky will love that. Good. I'll send it with a print. So you get the Pika print and the scratch and sniff. I mean, not scratch. The scratch art dino. Breathe, Mono. Drink some water.
You know what? Neither do I.
Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Congrats, Tex. I'll probably do a couple more Valentine's cards just because they're so much fun. And I have plenty of them.
Okay, faster. Nice.
I might literally save some for next year. I made it for a few minutes on the last break. Oh, I think he died. Did he die? Nope. We're just falling infinitely. Work's been good. I love it. Stayed for a few minutes on last break. Thank you, meow. I'm glad Becky will like it. Okay, so now we're looking for something in the area. Probably these guys. Defeat all opponents. Okay.
Go.
Just read it, Mono.
Leave it all to me.
Don't make Noelle mad. Oh, I don't like you. You need to go away. Get my bear bunny after you. Oh, he moved! He did cheat! He did cheat! You know what? Get back here. Get back here!
Life goes on.
And then I got stuff everywhere.
Opening box of Adeptitrix.
Now you're frozen. Froze your booty.
Yeah.
Oh god! Jeez! You know nothing. I did nothing. I did nothing. Pro streamer did nothing. I completed the mission. You're not gonna see what all I missed. Oh my god, what did I miss, Scratch? I 5 minutes left. Get on your screen. Steve Pink Mono Cute Mono Cat. You guys are yelling at me. Mono face. Love you, Mono. I'm dying. Alright, Prince, while you're here, do you want in the drawing real quick, Prince? Before you run away, I'm gonna put you in the bucket. And I'll draw 2 more cards. Sure, thanks. Alright. I'm gonna put it on Big Me and Forget. Big Me and Forget! Here we go. Okay, I should be looking. Alright. 2 tickets. Michigan and Splints. We tried, Prince. We tried. Good luck, Prince. Michigan and Splints, you get a another Valentine's card. So if you want another card, let me know which card you want. Dang it. Thanks again. We tried. Yes, you get 2 of them. I get to send you 2 Valentine's cards. You're special. You don't get just 1, you get 2. And Michigan gets a Valentine's card and a gift box. He's super special. Definitely my choice. Okay. Alright, that one's my choice. Your choice? Okay. I'll put it in the my choice pile. I did it. Alright, switch back to the game. Yeah, Michigan wanted a gift box, an Amazon Valentine's gift box set of munchies. So it's gonna be sent directly to his house. So yeah, gets all the snacks, all the Valentine snacks. Be back in a few. Okay, all right, Splits. Don't forget, after stream, I will be in Discord hanging out for a while tonight. So if you guys want to hang out, have a glass of wine, and wind down with me after stream, I am down. Alright, where did the thing go? There it goes. Oh, trying to fall down this hill. We're following you. Then you're gonna end up going like on super high ground or something. We're gonna climb up. Can't wait. Awesome. I'm glad you're excited. This was so much fun. You guys all get to be my Valentines. I had so much fun picking out the Valentine's cards, not gonna lie. There were so many I have a hard time choosing.
Is this an answer from this world?
Is this an answer from this world? I don't know. Since there's also something else in this area of importance that I need to obtain. I don't know where it is, though. Probably way up high. I don't know where it's at. It could be right here. Where is this item of importance? Wasn't those flowers? There's definitely something here. It's probably like way up above my head on that platform that I don't know quite how I get to. Maybe it's one of those I have to ride the air current up things. Lord Clark must have thought funny things. She must have thought I had a ton of kids. I had so many kids I needed 4 sets of Valentine's cards. Oh, that's where I get up at. There we go. There's the wind current. It'll take me up where I need to go. I saw it. There it is. Does it move? Oh, no, it's just up on this hill. It's common there to give your kids Valentine's cards? Yes. These are actually cards they hand out in like elementary schools and stuff. The kids exchange Valentine's cards. So kids get them and write their classmates' names on them, and they all exchange cards. So it's cute. So yeah, young kids. It's a cute little thing. Tradition. Okay, so we're gonna fly, because aren't we in the wind tunnel? There we go. There's something of interest up there. See that? There's a treasure chest. That's where we're headed. That's what the little star is on the map. It's showing us there's a treasure chest there.
All in a day's work.
I think that's what the star was for. Hold on, the star didn't go away. I'm so confused. The star is still here. And there's weird little flat rocks. I don't know. I don't know what else would be here. It is beyond me. Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is, see? Oh. I need that. Yay! Okay. Now we're gonna teleport again. Did I do all my dailies? I think I did. I think I did my dailies. Only took me like an hour and a half. No big deal. My head itches. So did we give out 12 yet? Let me look. We did. But I don't care. We actually gave out 14. It's so much fun. I think I'm still gonna do 2 more at the very end of stream to see who's here.
Did something awful happen again?
It would be fun. Where am I headed? Oh, I gotta head this way. Lick. You licked yourself? Were you dirty? Did you have to clean your fur? Oop Tex. Splash Momo. Hugs Meow Guard. Kisses Splints. And licks Momo too. Okay. The jiggly ears are going off. Yours great. The antenna thingies. They were cute as heck, but they feel funny on your head. They bounce around. I don't know. Oh my.
Ad Astra Abyssal. Welcome to the adventure.
Clay
Thank you for
Daily.
completing today's commissions. Here is your reward.
Let's get salty!
Tanned by daily.
Error. Ad Astra Abyssosk. Welcome to...
Claim. Claim. Select character. Select character. And I sent them off. Kinky. There you go. Quote. Trash cookies are best cookies. Alright, Discord too, guys. Discord, if you want to hang out later after stream, Discord, Discord. Go. There we go. I had answered our messages. Let's see. Just saying, I really like Ninguan. Do you like her a lot? I've never really used her that much. I haven't. I'm sure I said her name wrong. But. Lame. Should mine like 10 things real quick. That's so easy. Here's a person. I think I have like a thing over there. A thing, an event, a thingamajig. What am I supposed to do here again? Oh, but there's stuff I can mine here, so this is great.
I must leave no stone unturned.
You know, although Chi-Chi would just freeze them all. Do I go that way? Oh no, I go this way. Here it is. There it is. Whoa.
This is Wolvendom. People from Mondstadt hardly ever come here.
She's pretty cool and hard-hitting, but I don't really vibe with her spellcasters much. Me neither. Spellcasters I think are harder to use.
City, the environment here is totally
I like to just kick butt.
It's a wild place ruled by the laws of nature. It's survival of the fittest out, like those super duper massive ones over there.
Over there? Are they gonna attack before I hit the button? Nope. They do! Ah! They do attack before you hit the button.
Steady as stone.
That's alright. You know what? Oh, they're trying to drown me! What the hell? I haven't been drowned before. I'm gonna vaporize you guys. And then Chi-Chi's gonna come in here and freeze you guys. Frozen balls of water activated.
I must leave no stone unturned.
Dang. He had a skull on him. He's a bad dude. There's more. She sounds way out of breath. Oh, look at the face! Oh, jeez. Okay.
Oh, my Archon!
Oh my god. What the hell? I haven't seen this before. Ooh. Tough dude. He's my protector. Oh my.
Thank you. Ah! Wolves! Run!
Do not worry. Wolves, friends. But you are?
We're just some boring old travelers passing through.
Razor. Razor saved me.
Don't smell boring. You smell familiar.
Gotta love the Todd Hackleberg voice acting. Is that the guy you were talking about last night? It was, wasn't it?
Smell?
You smell like Knights of Favonius. They are friends. I am Razor.
I am Razor. Yes,
Are you one of
I
the
love
Knights
it.
of Favonius too?
I am not.
Oh.
So who is it? No.
My wolf pack. They are my family.
He voices several of your favorite anime characters. What are some of the other characters that he voices?
Yes, they raised me. We live together. We are family.
So many questions.
They are angry with me. I help you. Exposed our ambush. Boar ran away.
Don't worry. Paimon will get her friend
Yes,
to catch
tell
you
me
in another
more.
boar.
Natsu from Fairy Tail. It does sound like Natsu. I love Natsu.
She's stronger than she looks.
No, no need. When knights try to help, wolves go hungry.
Don't be silly. Wait here. We won't screw this up. Just watch.
So now we're gonna go get food. Open the inventory and use hunting trap to lay down a trap which can't be detected by boars. Okay, so inventory and traps. Hunting traps can attract boars, but boars tend to avoid people and run away in the exact opposite direction. Use this at your advantage to slay and snare them with the traps to get more raw meat. Oh, geez. We gotta go hunting. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we have enough meat already.
Ha ha! Told you
We didn't have to do it. We already had
Wolves
meat.
catch 5 or 6 every hunt. Tonight they go hungry.
Oh.
Don't worry. You tried. At least you did better than other knight friend. The red one. Bernie girl. If she was here, whole mountain is fire. Can't catch even one boar.
Oh, jeez.
I must go now. Here is not safe. Careful. Always watching.
Here is not safe.
What a weirdo. Bernie girl. From the Knights of Favonius? What is he? Who do you think it is?
I know who he's talking about. I know who he's talking about. Amber. I think he's talking about Amber. Nope, not Amber. Oh, I guess we find out later. Not Amber. An exquisite treasure chest?
Opening a chest is like unwrapping a gift.
Dang. So we get to go home. We get to go home for this part and follow the golden trail of sparkles and land in the water fountain. Let's go. Best way to dry off
Get ready for the
is to
grand
fly.
champion of Mondstadt.
Michigan kisses midget monstrosity.
Finding someone to chat to better.
Amber talks to Amber.
Hi, traveler. What can I do for you?
Exclamation spank. Oh no.
Hi, Amber.
Darn, not a command. No, we don't have spank. Oh my god, not yet. Here you go. Just for that.
He said you guys hit it off like a mountain on fire.
What on earth are you talking about?
Strange. He said he would wait for you at your regular
Run.
spot. Did you lose your memory or something?
Not yet.
My memory is fine, but you've been eating magic matsutake again, haven't you, Paimon? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Magic matsutake?
What is magic matsutake? It's like a mushroom dish, a forbidden mushroom dish. It sounds like. Oh, if everyone knows, Atella, Todd, Overcome's voice, Italia, Tamada, and my hero, Naruto. Wow, so many Soul Eater. Jeez. Pyron on shrooms confirmed, right? Definitely. Definitely confirmed. Let's see. He has done a lot of other things, but those are the more popular ones I could find. Dang. Michigan die.
Paimon may have had a couple.
Congrats,
the other
Shane.
day.
You're in the quote history now.
Wait,
If you weren't already, you're in there.
do you really not know that boy that lives with the wolves?
Misspellings and all. I know. I like it. Just shows Shane's not perfect either.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It doesn't have the same repertoire as Matt Mercer. Mercer is so much more.
But on the subject of wolves, I've been investigating something recently. In the past, the wolves never dared venture outside of Wolvendom, but now they're getting braver. I heard they attacked a cart fleet near Drunkard Gore. If you have time, could you come and check out the situation with me? Awesome. I knew I could count on you.
Ta-da! Look at that. Look at that. We did things and stuff. Alright. I'm gonna switch screens. Cause this is the last drawing of the night, and then I'm gonna hang out with you guys in Discord. So, hopefully, somebody who has not won anything tonight will win. Hi, Mewtwo Gaming! Welcome, welcome, welcome! So, we are gonna see who wins. Ready? Set. Who's gonna win? Aha! Winners are... Says Felix and Rogue. Are you guys here, Felix and Rogue?
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come
Give
on,
you just a
take look.
second to respond. If not, we will draw again. Rogue, you get a card. Which card do you want? Which card would you like, Rogue? Surprise you? Okay, I'll put you in the surprise pile. Yay! And I'll do one more since I don't think Felix is here. So, we're gonna see who gets one more. This one goes to Prince, which is probably not here either. So we're gonna try until we get somebody that's here. Lemon, you got one. Lemon drop. Which Valentine would you like, dear? If you were lurking and listening, which I'm sure you are. But that is gonna be it for me, guys. Ooh, surprise me. Okay, I put you in the surprise pile. Alright, I love it, I love it. I love giving Valentine's cards. I feel like such a kid. I love it, I love it, I love it. This is so cute. This was such a good idea. Naimoto, thank you. You're welcome. What is your favorite? Honestly, it's gonna sound odd, but the donut scratch and stiff sounds and smells amazing. It just smells almost like, you know, I want to rub it on my skin like it's cologne. It smells so good. I want to rub the donut smell on my arm. I'm just saying. It smells so good. And guess what? I'm so down. I love a good donut.
I feel like running.
It smells that good. Homer drool. Ew, gross. Just got back, had a family friend over. Don't worry, Vanguard. Don't. Alright. But yes, the donut smells amazing. I'm gonna have to put your name on that one so I remember. Where did I put your ticket? I don't even know. I'm losing it already. I'm gonna put Lemon gets a donut. There. Or I might smell it as a cough. I should give an extra one for Thor. Y'all need two or you're gonna fight over them. You guys are gonna fight over them. That's terrible. That's terrible. But yes, guys. I had an awesome night. Happy Valentine's Day. You guys are wonderful. I'm gonna see you guys in Discord. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna sort my mess here and have a glass of wine before bed. But I'm gonna hang out with you guys and we'll just chill. So I love you all. Smells like no ticket. I win. Yes, you win. Oh, I love you guys. I hope I helped make your Valentine's Day special. Thank you all for being here. You were wonderful. You guys made my Valentine's special. Love you all. Thank you for streaming me out. You're welcome. You're welcome. And if you guys, like I said, Discord. I'll be there. At least for a little while. Alright, but I'm gonna end stream now. So I will see you guys shortly. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.